so different when you do it. Oh, we're live. Hi guys, how you all doing?
Hello.
We're on Facebook and we are on YouTube. Sorry, it normally takes this program a little longer to get us live. As you can notice, I'm pretty sure it's hard not to notice. I do have my co-host with me today, Michael Lauber. He goes with Michael, Mike, Mr. M. He goes with whatever, but I call him Michael. Hey,
That's right.
Michael, how's it going?
Oh, another day in paradise over here.
Tell me all about it. Listen, I'm sure a lot of my audience especially on Facebook, they have seen your name, your posts, your comments. But why don't you quickly do a short clip of your work, all of that. Tell them who you are, and then we get into it.
I co-host Let's Be Frank with Annie, obviously, and then I've been an associate producer with Love to Freedom for a while. Her and I have worked on a lot of projects together, and then I also work with Frank Speech. You guys have probably seen some of my work there. I'm the Frank Clips guy, so I do a lot of the short media clips that you see shared on Frank Social and on their other platforms.
Did you just call yourself the Frank Clips guy?
The Frank Clips guy. I figured that'll stick. People will know who that.
Oh boy.
Somebody will know who that is.
That's true. By the way, is anyone who I know a few people are with us. First of all, please share this. Secondly, if somebody could tell us on the comment if we're good on video and audio, because this is the first time we're doing this. So if there's any problems, let us know. By the way, Michael is normally, not always, but normally a humble person. He also is my partner on my art studio. Any piece you see that has any kind of wood involved, WOOD, wood involved, that is his work. Our wood lamps, I do the resin part, he does the wood part. Our wood coasters, I don't anything. All the cross pieces, if you have purchased any of the cross pieces, he's the one who put the mold together. So don't be humble. Come on, he's also an artist.
Yeah, it's some simple designs, and then we just 3D print those, make a mold, and then we have a nice unique cross. Annie's art style and her choice of colors are amazing, so it's a perfect complement.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so let's get to it. To be guys, talk to us. We will engage, but we do have something. Believe it or not, we've been talking about this for what, probably 2 days now, Michael.
Yeah, pretty much.
Iran, Russia, Turkey. Iran, Russia, Turkey. Without any kind of major outlet or major exposure, Iran, Russia, and Turkey had a summit. They literally called it a summit out of the blue with no announcement. They had a summit planned.
Yeah.
And they had a sit down in Tehran on Monday, technically Sunday night our time because of time difference. And Erdogan from Turkey, Putin from Russia, Raisi from Iran, they sat down and they talked. Seemed to be going very unnoticed. So me and Michael, we're at first, of course, off air, we're just talking, and we're both going like, yeah. That, by the way, that's how we talk.
Yeah, all the time.
Okay, mainly it's me. And at some point, we're like, you know what? Let's go live. Let's go live. So, but normally I'm the talker. So, Michael, I'm going to try to be a fair person. You start, I follow. Go.
So, my big concern, what sticks out with me in all this is how little coverage we're getting of this here, even though this should be a major, alarm bell should be going off for people.
Why?
Not just, Turkey doesn't have any real interest with Russia other than a little bit with Ukraine because of the drop in trade. But these three countries unifying and potentially Russia and Turkey both withdrawing from Syria, that's bad for everyone. Russia wants to run transportation, both pipelines and other logistics through Iran because it centralizes everything and gives them a huge foothold in the Middle East. But it isn't that simple. There's a lot we're not seeing too. The other shoe I keep kind of waiting for to drop is Qatar has been extremely involved with these other negotiations. So I'm waiting to see where their hand plays out in this.
It's Qatar or Qatar, but I'll take Qatar out of you.
Yeah, it's as close as I can get. Sorry.
Hey, listen, you all mess with my accent, so when it comes to Arabic or Middle Eastern words, I get to mess with your accent. But
it's only fair.
Glad you said Qatar. Qatar is that player. Like we were talking yesterday about the game Mafia. I don't know if any of our audience is familiar with the game Mafia. It's basically, I don't know, normally it's played with 12 people. There are 8 citizens, 4 Mafia for each 2 citizens, 1 Mafia. And Mafia supposedly infiltrates the citizens to distract them and, fool them to kick themselves out.
Yeah.
It's been literally, Qatar is that one player which is called the silent player in Game of Mafia.
Yes.
It is playing a huge role in absolute destruction, and it is not being pointed out. And more interesting, as a huge soccer fan, I am amazed that the still World Cup is moving forward in Qatar, which is going to make them billions of dollars. But here's the connection of Qatar. Plays. Qatar right now is our mediator in negotiation between Iran and US, indirect negotiation, I should say that,
Yes.
about Iran nuclear deal. Qatar is also our negotiator between Taliban and America. We are giving the money to Qatar. Qatar's giving the money to Taliban to fly poor Afghan refugees from Kabul. Did I just hit something on my table? Of course I did. From Kabul to Doha in Qatar, so we can go get them from Doha. Qatar is also one of the countries who is literally one leg in, one leg out within the negotiation of peace agreement with Israel. You just put all of that together. My question is, who is Qatar? By the way, Qatar, like size of the country, Qatar.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a Walmart parking lot. And but they're playing such a central role, and that's what's unusual, is for them to step up now so recently, where they're flexing so much power across several different nations, because playing the central role in between the US and Iran for this idiotic deal the Biden regime is trying to go after, and with again with Afghanistan. So what are the connections, and why did they all of a sudden step into where they have all this power?
I don't know. You tell me. What are your guesses?
I've really got nothing to why they would all of a sudden be this key player. But it's obviously true. So that's why I also assume they're probably doing more behind the scenes now between Russia, Iran, and Turkey. I mean, I know what the interest is for Russia. That makes perfect sense, that they want logistics and they want logistics support. And then there's also the connections back with China doing that too. You know, they recently did, it was a rail deal, right? Um,
Mhm.
and it was such an insignificant amount of money, but China still put them on this same kind of plan they've been doing with other countries in South America and across Africa, part of their like Belt and Road Initiative, or a very similar model. So they're going to build this infrastructure there. So this again benefits all these countries that are lining up against our interests, and it is another perfect example of this, red green axis, because it's this strengthening alliance between these communist socialist nations and then these Islamic states that again wish for a worldwide caliphate, with Iran pulling the
Nicely done
strings
on
behind
that
all of
one.
it. Yeah,
Yes. Here's the thing. The funny part, or it's not so funny, but you all know my terms that I use. The funny part is, I'm going to take it back to last 2 days. Monday, Tuesday, today's Wednesday, right? Yeah, Wednesday.
yeah,
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. On Sunday, Biden came back, left Middle East. Before leaving, he went to Saudi Arabia. No, I'm sorry. He went to Israel, met with Abbas, the Palestinian Authority puppet, then
yes,
Saudi Arabia. Now, Saudi Arabia agreed to stay within the peace agreement, also open their airways for Israel to fly directly from Israel to Saudi Arabia, which on its own is a joke. I understand it's all a charade, because there aren't that many Jews who are going to go from Israel to Saudi Arabia and not disappear or be arrested for spying from Assad. That's just a given fact. But
exactly.
everybody's like, oh, yeah, Saudi Arabia opened the. I guess what I'm doing is recapping the last week of our life. Yay, Israel and Saudi Arabia making friends. Let me tell you a few things. Number one, this one move, opening the airways, you do realize it just made it a lot simpler and easier for Muslims to go to Mecca. Do you all realize that? It
Yes,
also, you do realize it also made it a lot easier for Saudi Arabia to make more money, because the flight from Israel to Saudi Arabia is more expensive than however the Muslims in Israel will make their way to Saudi Arabia. So Israel didn't gain anything out of this. Like, even the Israeli government should wake up and realize there is no celebration here.
well, the Israeli government seems to have problems doing things that are in their self-interest anyway. Uh-oh, did we just freeze? Are we? Did things just freeze? Okay, so Annie's frozen, but mine's still up. Apparently so. Okay, guys, I'm gonna close out of this real quick because she had the control on this. I'll reach out to her. We'll probably be right back up. I apologize. We are trying something different with StreamYard this time. So give us just a minute. We'll be back up.
Hey guys, guess what? I don't know. Guess what? Everything just blew up on my end. But I was seeing Michael talking. There we go. Michael's back. So let's try. Let's try again. Let me see if I can do this. Actually, I think I can. But
Sorry, I wasn't sure if I tried to give us talk us out. You were frozen with your arms up in the air.
I know, like literally, my entire system just blew up.
Is that
And
what?
phone, so I could hear what you were saying, and I'm like, okay, good. He's gonna kind of carry over to this, and but I do like to see that. Thank you, Larry. Yeah, it's good to be back. I'm watching the comments and trying to see what you're saying, but I guess I said too much, didn't I? Oops.
Yeah, somebody shut us down. The Facebook police jumped in and knocked the stream out.
Yeah, but you go ahead. You were talking about after I said it's all good for Muslims. I lost everything, so go ahead. Try again.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, this is also, again, like, Israel has this problem with not doing things that are in their self-interest. So going along with this deal or stopping when they have Hamas on the run or anything else, we see them do it over and over again. A lot of times it's the U.S. that pushes them that direction, but it's still against their self-interest. Like, I don't see what the upside is for them.
Exactly. Now let's follow up. So Saudi Arabia goes with, yeah, we're friends. Give us more money. Send us our Muslims who want to go to Hajj, but possibly don't send us Jews because we're going to arrest them or make them disappear. Then he went to meeting with Abbas, which, by the way, I personally still don't understand. But then there's always Taliban. Why do we even legitimize Abbas and Palestinian authorities? That's beyond me as human society. But okay, he goes talking to them, which we covered this on Let's Be Frank Sunday. By the way, guys, if you haven't heard, so I have a Monday through Friday show on Lindell TV, Frank Speech. And then on Sundays, me, Michael, and AJ, we have a 1 hour show, 7 p.m. Central, right, Michael? 7 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm so bad at the time zone thing.
I know. I kept getting confused on that. 7 p.m. Central every Sunday. It's an hour show when it's me, Michael, and AJ. We covered this. He goes from west side to east side, and he removes the Israeli flag from the lemo, legitimizing Palestine. Okay, fine. He's the president. Not that he is, but okay.
Well, even worse than just insulting Israel, he also reinstituted funding for the PLO, which Trump had cut off. And this will literally, like, Trump backed out of it because of the pay per slay or pay to slay program? I always say it the wrong way.
Pay per a slay.
Okay, pay per slay. I think of pay-per-view, and I think I'm wrong. But anyway, Trump cut him off because of the pay per slay. Because, paying people to go kill Jews is probably not like a good way for us to spend our money. So when Trump cut that off, Biden had not reinstituted it till now, but now we're refunding them without these restrictions. So the money is going to go, and again, this will only hurt them because now we're going to be funding suicide bombers and other attacks again because people know their families will be taken care of, or if they're captured, they'll continue to pay them as long as they're in Israeli jails.
Exactly. And then he moved forward by doing another thing, which was saying comparing Israel to British Empire and Palestinians to
the Irish.
Oppressed and persecuted Irish.
Yes.
Anyhow, that's not the topic today. So I will just leave it at that. Then he goes to meet up with Saudi Arabia, make all the deals, whatever. He leaves. Literally less than 16 hours later, suddenly there's the Iran, Russia, and Turkey summit taking place.
Yes.
Interesting. Then And funny enough, if you read any of the American or Western report, it goes saying things like Putin went to Iran to meet with Raisi, and then it happened that Erdogan was there. Like Erdogan takes weekend vacations in Iran.
Yeah.
Erdogan's just there, so they decided to talk to you.
Like they just bumped into him in the hotel or something.
Yeah, it's like, hey, buddy, since you're here, let's just grab a drink. Oh, wait, we don't drink in Iran. Never mind that part. But if you read the Iran International report, it does say that they both flew to Iran for this specific meeting. Now, where does Iran International get their news? Directly from Iran. It's funny that Iranian regime is not afraid to admit this is planned, but mainstream media in the West is trying to cover it up for them. That should be a red flag right there. But then again, nobody's surprised about that. Move forward. Erdogan is there. They do their talk. Tuesday being Monday night, our time. This time difference is crazy. But let's say Tuesday, Erdogan leaves. Then Wednesday morning, local time, the foreign minister of Syria shows up in Tehran. They have a talk. Oh, I forgot to say this. Before Erdogan leaves Turkey to go to Tehran, he announces that Turkey is ready. We are ready to receive Taliban diplomats.
Yeah. So again, we see this new unification throughout the region and a diplomacy and alliances forming that are clearly against the U.S. and U.S. interests, but they're also against the interests of other people in the region. Whether you want to talk, well, I think both these countries withdraw from Syria and stop the fighting there. Again, you've got a power vacuum that'll immediately be filled. But again, this also puts Iran back as a central figure, and
wait, didn't Biden finish his big tour, which we called it an apology tour, number 2? Yeah. Didn't he finish it with, we will not leave a hole to be vacuumed by Iran, China, and Russia?
That's hilarious.
It didn't last 24 hours, did it?
Well, what has the Biden regime really accomplished that's ever been good for the United States? I mean, think how far we've fallen since he assumed office there.
Well, here's the only, since you asked, and it's my personality to answer. Wait, before I answer, where is everybody today, by the ways? Are you all keeping quiet, not talking to us, or are you just not here? Just out of curiosity, because it is quiet. And I'm sure if everybody shared this video, we would have more people here. But hey, we're used to it. Let's go watch Newsmax with thousands and tens of thousands of people who's lying to you, who haven't even reported on this. Anyhow, answer your question. The only good that came out of Biden's regime was when they pushed their luck far enough to steal the election right in front of us, for Americans to come to realize relying on a government to do the job for you is the wrong way of living life in America. Government works for you. You let them do whatever they wanted to do until right in front of you, right in your face overnight, a miracle of Mohammedan happened when everybody was asleep, and boom, Biden won the election. The only good thing that came out of this Biden regime.
Yeah, is that now there are more people awake and activated. But the problem is we have this tendency to wait for other people to do things instead of taking the initiative and actually fighting back or doing something ourselves. So the real question is now is what happens in that respect, at least when the next election comes around. Are we going to wait and let them impose COVID restrictions and institute mass mail-in voting and all this other garbage again? Or will we actually stand up and the law's on our side? All we need is people that are willing to stand and demand that.
There you go. You just you said the key word: people standing up and demanding. Yes. Come on. I don't know how to translate this from Farsi to English. I was talking to a fellow Iranian friend of mine today, and the discussion was over work. And we have this phrase in Farsi that if I would literally translate in English word by word would be wide ass syndrome. Hey, that's about how we say it. Wide ass syndrome. Yes, it translates to people have gone so lazy, they won't even go get a job because they're on bare minimum unemployment and COVID relief paychecks.
Yes.
You expect them to get off the couch, get up, do something? Come on. I will use this as always I do. It is Wednesday afternoon. Most people on my page, at least, are absolutely home. I'm pretty sure. Let me put it this way. The counter here says we have a giant number of 17 viewers between YouTube and 2 Facebook pages. Out of 17 people, 4 people have shared this live feed, 4 out of 17, and 3 people have said something on the comments. That simple of a task is too much to ask. You think they're gonna get up, stand up, demand? No. Let's not dream. As we discussed earlier today, I'm too realistic. But I will say this. Back to the whole Russia thing. Biden leaves, this happens, Syria comes in. You already said it at the beginning. Technically, Russia has no interest in Turkey. Am I wrong?
No, zero. When it comes to like Russia and Turkey directly, there's zero interest. The only thing that I can think of where Turkey has some interest in the situation is Ukraine, because Ukraine did ship a lot of, especially the food they produced through Turkey. They used the ports there, and they did some overland shipping. But we're not talking large enough that they would want to enter a war over it or anything like that. It doesn't make any sense.
And that's the thing. That is Turkey having interest in Ukraine. It has nothing to do with Russia having any interest in Turkey. Now, what is the interest in Syria that would interest Russia? Why would Russia be interested in Syria?
Directly, nothing.
Indirectly?
It's indirectly controlling energy and distribution through Iran.
Yeah, but technically Syria would play no role. But
exactly
when I'm sorry, hold on, let me answer a comment. Gerald, what's going on here? 2 absolutely paranoid conspiracy theorist minds are talking to each other. Pretty much that's what's going on. In reality, we're just trying to inform people that a giant bomb is about to explode in the Middle East and nobody knows about it.
And I like to think of the conspiracy theorists as the coming attractions now anyway, because they sort of have this tendency to be right about 6 months later.
Of course. That's why. That's the thing. This is a new conspiracy that me and you started because we ran out of other ones. They all became reality, including me telling people we're going to bring Islamic terrorists merged into Afghan refugees. But now we know that happened too. Anyhow, back to it.
Yeah.
Russia and Iran, the first thing that happened, the very first thing in the morning before Putin and Raisi even sit in the same room, the first thing that happened was an agreement of $40 billion oil and natural gas agreement between Iran and Russia. Now, what is the agreement? Because, technically, Iran doesn't need the oil nor the natural gas because they have it.
Yeah. They don't even need this coal gas, or what is it? Liquid natural gasification plant that they're putting in. Like, they've already got a bigger one of their own. They've had for how long? How many decades? So they don't need Gazprom coming in building this. It's a cover for something else, or it's just a reason for it's an excuse to have the relationship between the countries. It's not something they actually need.
Exactly.
Yeah, same with China.
But Iran desperately needs Syria. So the conflict, just do in my head drawing. Turkey has a tiny bit of interest in Ukraine. So Turkey jumped in to try to defend Ukraine and try to talk to Russia regarding some Doreen, I am not beating around the bushes. Sorry, this comment just came on.
Yeah.
You're on Facebook, so I get that you have to beat around the bush to explain your intel. Oh no. I don't even know how to do that. I guess because I'm not a big fan of bushes, right? Michael can testify to that. Grass and bushes aren't my thing. Anyhow, so I can understand why Turkey would want to talk to Russia to try to come to some sort of deal and peace. Get that. Russia is talking to Turkey to try to convince Turkey to back away from Syria.
Mm-hmm.
Russia has no interest. Russia could care possibly less about Turkey in Syria, Syria in Turkey. They don't care. They don't.
Yeah.
But Iran needs to get into Syria. Iran cannot talk to Turkey directly because they don't get along. They just don't. By the way, Gary, I see your comment and I will address that in 5 seconds. You're very correct. We'll get there in a minute. So Russia needs Iran based on that, what is it, liquefying gas?
Yeah, allegedly.
Too many big words for me to say. Russia needs Iran. Iran needs Syria. Russia is risking possibly making a deal with Turkey for them to walk away from Ukraine, so Turkey would walk away from Syria.
Yeah, it doesn't add up.
Exactly. Now, in middle of all of that, as we said, the silent player Qatar is, we're going to put Qatar out for a second. You should never play Mafia with me. I'm too good at it. Just kidding. It's okay. We can play Mafia. Then we bring America into it. As Trevor Loudon said today on Brannon House Radio, because I was on with them, we are helping Ukraine without helping Ukraine. What he meant was we're giving enough to Ukraine to stay alive and not lose, but we're not getting in to help them win.
Yeah.
Question for you, Michael. Two scenarios here. Russia and Ukraine will come to agreement, sign peace, and leave each other alone, or Russia will invade Ukraine and take over. Give me both scenarios. How does it matter to America?
Honestly, I don't think either scenario really matters to America. Whether Russia invades and takes the Donbass region, the other Russian-speaking parts of Ukraine, is going to have zero effect on us at the end of the day. Ultimately, Ukraine would probably be better off without it. They've had like at least a 10-year ongoing civil war over there that just cost them lives and money and leaves people in the surrounding areas subject to random attacks. So they're not going to gain control of the region. They can blame it on whatever they want. It really all goes back to the Soviet Union there. But regardless, I understand them wanting to retain the territory, but it's really not in their best interest at this point. And as far as U.S. interest, none whatsoever. I mean, it's less room for them to launder money, I guess. You know, maybe it'll cut down on Hunter Biden's commissions.
That's a good one. Let's address Gary's point. That's quite the headline. Yes, it is. I believe the Islamic Antichrist is coming from Turkey, the seat of Satan, according to Yeshua Jesus in Revelation. Realize the importance of Israel to God. Bingo, 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 bingo. Absolutely correct. You're right. Erdogan is the man who said in power in Turkey, said, you Westerners are insulting us every time you say radical Islam because there is only one Islam.
Yeah.
This man is one of the most honest dictators I have ever heard of in the history of human society. But we still don't want to take his word for what he's saying. I do absolutely understand the importance of Israel to God. And that is exactly why the Biden regime is doing everything in their power in front. They're defending and friendly with Israel, but behind the closed doors, they're doing everything in their power to enable Iran to wipe Israel off the map, because that is when the prophecy cannot happen.
Yes.
Wipe Israel off the map, and there is no prophecy to happen. I do understand the importance. The question is the Israeli government understanding the importance of Israel? Because they're not acting like they do. They don't act like a government that is not just responsible for its own citizens, but they are lifting a heavier weight by being in charge of protecting the land that is so important to billions of people. Go.
Yeah, you've got that exactly right. And it's not only that they're not acting in their own self-interest, they're acting exactly against it so much of the time, trying to broker these deals with people they know they can't trust, or not going all the way and finishing the job when they are responding to an attack from Hamas or whoever just over the border. You know, we see them back down over and over again. And I know the Biden regime is pushing them to do this, that like with this last major rocket attack, you know, the Biden regime started putting pressure on them to back down once they had everybody cornered in the tunnels again. But the fact that they go for it, they don't have to back down just because a president in the U.S. tells them not to.
Here's the thing. Let's do this, because I do need to calm down. Or maybe not. I don't want to say things I shouldn't. You see, there are no bushes for me to beat around.
Yeah.
Let's do this, guys. We are so happy that we officially have 2 official sponsors. Look at us. Let's actually take one, literally 60 seconds, 1 minute. Don't all drop and go, okay? We have the right to play this. If you're familiar with Mike Lindell, which I'm pretty sure you are, let's hear from Mike Lindell. Take 1 minute break and then come back so I can try to be a little bit more polite about what I'm about to talk about. How's that, Michael?
That seems fair enough.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell. Years ago, when I invented MyPillow, I was faced with every adversity you could think of. No retailers wanted to sell MyPillow. That's come full circle. Vendors took advantage of me, and I was copied by China. Well, by the grace of God, I was able to get through all that and learn from it. I have a passion to help other U.S. entrepreneurs, and that's why I created my new platform, mystore.com. We have hundreds of products from amazing entrepreneurs, and to celebrate, I'm going to put my pillows on mystore.com right now. You can get my standard My Pillows regularly $69.98, now only $19.98 with your promo code. Or you can get my standard queen size, regular $79.98, now only $29.98. Or you can get my premium king size, regularly $89.98, now only $34.98. So go to mystore.com and use that promo code on your screen to get huge discounts on all My Store products. Thank you and God bless. Hello.
I think Mike wanted to repeat what he just said.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike. Yeah, guys, do go to mystore.com, purchase anything you like. All you got to do is use AC21 as promo code, right? AC, Annie Cyrus, AC21. You get up to 66% discount, and then a generous portion of it, not your discount. Yeah, your discount, generous portion of it will come to me, Michael, and AJ so we can keep doing what we are doing. And I want to repeat, we are on air Monday. Well, technically Sunday through Friday. We have the Let's Be Frank on Sundays for 1 hour. Monday through Friday, it's the Live Up to Freedom show from 2:30 to 3 p.m. Central Time on Lindell TV. So it's 6 days of work, 6 days a week work. I don't know how I still have my voice considering how much I do that. 6 days a week.
Yeah, between talking on the air, appearing on other shows, and how much like you and I are on the phone or other people, yeah, I'm surprised you have any voice at all by the time like Friday rolls around.
The good thing is I'm Persian, right? We got really good vocal cords. I'm kidding, we don't. That is very true. Liz said politeness is overrated when dropping truth. I will agree with you, and I will stop trying to be so polite anyhow. Okay, so anytime, Larry. By the way, I miss you, man. I just had to say that. Okay, here's where I wanted to go with everything we just said, including addressing Gary's point.
Yeah.
I want to do a history thing real quick, very quickly. Some people is still, and by people I really mean planet Earth, population of people, regardless of where they're from. Majority of people are still somehow within this mask that I call the naive mask. They're still being so naive. Somewhere, somehow, they think any law or regulation is still applies to everybody. They think international laws are being, followed by governments. So on that note, I want to give people a little bit of hint. I am not saying, please, I want to put a disclaimer here. I'm not starting where I'm starting based on it being biased and personal to me. Is it personal? Absolutely. Am I holding a grudge? No. I grew up, I learned that it is what it is. That's how corrupt politicians work, as Larry said. So there was an 8-year war between Iran and Iraq, which might be how you say it is Iran and Iraq. It has started with literally out of the blue. One day, Saddam Hussein decided to attack Iran. Literally. Bombed Iran. International law says Saddam Hussein invaded Iran. This was after the revolution, so there was no alliance between Iran and United States of America. Understandably, I wish we would always stay away from alliance with them, but we changed that. Iran retaliated. United Nations stayed neutral. United Nations' job is to jump in. No. United States of America and United Kingdom decided to get involved. They backed Iraq up.
Yes.
That goes against international laws as well. And Michael, please jump in whenever I'm incorrect. Please tell me, because I'm not saying I know it all.
Oh, you're dead on.
International law says that if you have alliance with a country that is involved with a war, that they are the invaders, you do not have the right to support them because they broke the international law. Therefore, supporting them, you are breaking the international law too. They got behind Iraq. They provided them with weapons. They provided them with chemical bombs. Lots of Iranians died. 8 years later, there was no end to it. There was no end to it. So Iran and Iraq came to agreement, peace agreement.
Yes.
Fast forward, so many other situations, but I want to make this quick so I don't put everybody to sleep. I'm going to fast forward to situation of Ukraine and Russia today. Russia invade Ukraine.
Yeah.
Ukraine retaliated. Everybody got behind Ukraine. It's the same story years later, different scenario, different circumstances, but all the allies, including United Nations, got behind Ukraine.
Yes.
I have two questions for you, Michael. One,
Mm-hmm.
what was it that in 1980s, when the 8-year war was going on between Iran and Iraq, what was the benefit for United Nations to stay out neutral? What was the benefit for US and UK to get behind the invader at that point?
The reason they did it was they just considered Iran a common enemy and a bigger threat, whether this was due to the hostage situation or other things that happened before that, or what happened with the UK and Iran after the kingdom was overthrown. But no, there was no reason. Again, if they would have followed international law, they would have either gotten in the middle of it, the UN would have gotten involved, but you definitely would not have been giving chemical weapons to Saddam Hussein.
Here's my second question about that part of history. Why is it that to this day, UK and US have not faced any consequences for genuinely breaking law and technically committing war crime by providing chemical weapons to the invaders?
Because who would have enforced those at the time? What, the Soviet Union that was collapsing in Afghanistan? China that wasn't really a power at the time? There was nobody to do anything.
How's this for a scenario? Nobody would make them face consequences because since then until today, within last 40 years of absolute and 100% corruption that has been implemented in United Nations has not been in hands of Saudi Arabia or Iran, but in hands of United Nations, the United States of America and United Kingdom.
Yeah.
They ran the show from that day to this day. You don't punish yourself, do you?
No. Yeah, I mean, we're almost 2/3 of the UN's budget. What are we going to do? Sanction ourselves?
Now, for anyone who might think, first of all, why would I ever say US should face consequences? Because I say anyone who does do wrong should face consequences. This has nothing to do with my loyalty to America. Yeah. By the way, this is about a government, not a nation. Secondly, for the yes, ma'am. It was from 1980 to 1988, which this is a side note. Recently, me and Michael would talk a lot. As he said, he's my associate producer on Live Up to Freedom. So we have to do a lot of discussions to see what is the topic, what we're going to talk about, or regularly planning to do live shows. But a lot of time, very kindly, of course, Michael is very kind to me, but he does mention like, oh, that's a good way of looking at it. I wouldn't think of it that way. Or he does flat out just say, you have this unique way of looking at things. And recently I told him, I said, I might be 38. Don't let that gray hair fool you. And I didn't do my hair today. But anyways, I might be 38. But remember, it's not just the torture of being a Muslim girl that I had to face during my life. But I also grew up, literally, I was born in the middle of this war. And I grew up in 1988 when the war ended finally. I was about 5-6 years old. Yeah. And that's not young enough not to remember. I do remember it very well. And then also I went through 3 years of refugee life, not a fancy refugee life we give people here in America with like hotel rooms and housing and good food. Now I'm talking actual refugee time when I was in such a small town that there was no gas line. So we burned coal to warm the house up in freezing cold winter of Turkey.
Yeah.
And then I also watched the United Nations, the very organization that helped someone like me get here to America to become the most joke topic of all time. You put all of that life experience within 38 years, you learn to have a different point of view when it comes to good or bad. Now, I said this was a side note, but I felt like I need to put this out there. But let's take it now. We discussed the Iran-Iraq situation. Let's talk about the Ukraine and Russia thing. Everyone, first of all, I am upset that this Russia-Ukraine thing created division inside America within people.
Yes. And I think a lot of that is just virtue signaling. People want to hop on board and display the little flag. They don't really understand what's going on there. They don't understand this conflict, but they know the internet and the good people on the internet tell them they're supposed to put the flag up on their bio. Anybody that says something nice about Russia is a mean, evil, racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe.
Oh no, that part bothers me because, as I said, when as Americans or any nation, if we're willing to divide ourselves over somebody else's problem and not notice this division is adding to our own internal problems within the country, that just rubs me the wrong way to
Yeah.
be nice about it. But we have the division. Also, we have, as we discussed, American government helping Ukraine enough to keep him alive, but not once and for all pulling the plug, because as we discussed and we established, it doesn't matter to us, to America, doesn't matter what happens over there. But you taught me that on top of equipment we left behind for Taliban accidentally,
Yeah.
we are also not replacing the weapons we're providing Ukraine with.
Yes.
You take it from there.
Yeah, so a lot of these weapons that we've been giving to Ukraine, from like Javelin launchers and other civilian small arms, we're not replacing our stockpile now. So if there is a large conflict that the U.S. gets drawn into, or anywhere we need to make a major ground deployment, we don't have enough of that for our own people now. And some of these things, especially like the Javelins, I hate to keep coming back to that, but it's such a huge tactical advantage to have a man-portable weapon that you can carry multiple reloads with, that can just wipe basically any other piece of armor on the battlefield off. And then also to have these other fire and forget weapons that we can fire at aircraft from ground forces. These are a huge advantage in a major deployment. That a lot of times when people look at military arms, it's how much logistical damage can you do? Like how much can, our $200,000 weapon, how much can that eliminate for the enemy? But when you're talking the kind of conflicts the U.S. is typically in, we move so fast. We basically follow the blitzkrieg lightning war model that calculation doesn't make sense. Instead, we just wipe the enemy off the battlefield completely. But if we lost that capability because we can't arm ourselves the way that we need to fight effectively, then we can't do that. It puts us at a huge disadvantage. Not to mention, the Ukrainians are now selling these things on the black market. Brandon House ran a story on this the other day, where for 20 grand you can go buy yourself a Javelin. They've even got video of it.
Exactly. So I don't know how long we're gonna go on this live read. I'm up for as long as we want, but I want to conclude here before we go on, because I have like about 5 more million questions to throw at you, even though it's not an interview, but that's the thing, it's intriguing. So conclusion here. Hey, John, how you doing? By the way, it's Heather Love. I'll see you. I'm sorry. I meant to say hi, and I forgot. Conclusion. Number one, I'm going to pull a Brandon House on you, Michael.
Okay, perfect.
I'm making a statement, and then I'll ask you true or false. Regardless of where the issue is being generated within last year and a half of life of Americans, inside, outside, within, related to policies, politics, religion, any of that, from Iran to Turkey to Russia to Ukraine to White House to Pentagon, no one should stay off any specific topic, because this is a domino effect that is going to cost us our freedom and way of life. True or false?
True. 100%. And a lot of these things are more interconnected, I think, than people see. So disarming our military is another step in the equation that makes us weaker for an attack, whether that comes through an alliance that's clearly forming around us between Iran, China, Russia, now Turkey, apparently, and other players in the region. And again, we've had other stories that reflect this. There's military training drills going on right now in South America that involve China, Russia, and Iran. And this would never have been allowed to happen even just a few years ago. and they wouldn't have tried to do it. But now it's just treated as normal and it's ignored by our media. Same with a lot of these stories. Instead, what are we focusing on right now? Our media has stories about pictures of Putin walking with his arm like this. So saying, oh, did he have a stroke? Oh, maybe he's in worse shape than he did. And instead of talking about the real issue of why this guy's going to Iran, meeting with these countries, and what that holds for our future, they're focusing on pictures of his arm limp, which it's been for years. He's a KGB agent, if I could talk, for decades before he assumed power there. Yeah. But anyway.
That's how it sounded. But here's the thing. First, I want to address this comment by Guitar Flamingo from Iraq. I will agree with everything you said. And my heart goes out to you for having to deal with that war. I just add one more word to your comment. It was meaningless. Yes. It was also a piece of history that got faded away so they could repeat it in different locations without people understanding. And us Iranians, you Iraqis, we failed to keep this part of history alive and know the importance of it when it comes to what is happening in the Middle East. We also played a huge part by not keeping this part of history completely on top of the billboard so people will remember what happened. But I appreciate your comments. Now, back to what you were saying. I'm sorry I do this. I bounce from one thing to another. I don't want to miss them because all comments are important to me, but some comments I want to make sure to acknowledge. Yes. Larry says total yellow journalism and disinformation campaigned by the news. I agree. And that's, to Larry or anyone else, one of the reasons I actually get pissed off of. Really, that's it. That's all the view we're getting is the fact that people rather, back to what you were saying. You see, it's not the journalists. Okay, 50-50. It is 50% the journalist's fault, Michael. The other 50% goes to the readers. The fact that people prefer to read something that is mocking someone or making fun of someone, something that is lighter and giggleable. I know, I probably made that up. Giggleable, laughable, whatever. Oh, come on. I have a dictionary of, I have a dictionary of my own.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You're probably like, how did you even pronounce that? I have that talent. I can pronounce made up words much better than real words. It's just a talent. Another hidden talent of mine. But for people who go and read that, now your case is different because we are investigative journalists. So it's part of our job is to read the lies so we can expose them. I'm talking average people. Those who watch the video and read them, it is their fault as well. If they don't have the readership, they won't survive. Look, we're barely surviving. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We're barely surviving. If it wasn't for our work, we should give another shout out to Brown House and Mike Lindell. Both of us work for them. And we're both in a position that we can't get a job anywhere else because we've been out here being bad girl and bad boy for too long. We don't even get a job with normal places anymore. We're blacklisted. If it wasn't for Mike Lindell and Brown House to give us a job, neither one of us could be. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't even be able to pay my internet bill.
No, probably
because
not.
We don't make a penny out of our journalism. Even though we tell the truth, even though I carry 12 bounties on my head, we don't make money out of this. We don't survive. We barely have subscribers on our website or text alert because who cares about the heavy, depressing, sad news of truth? Let's go read about Putin walking half with a stroke. Yeah. That is lighter. That is not my problem. It's not going to affect me. But if I go read the truth, if I listen to the truth, if I understand the truth, then I'm going to have to stay up all night staring at the ceiling thinking, what am I going to do? Oh, God forbid if I get a feeling that I have to be responsible for an action. I'm going to zip it for a second. You take.
Well, that's a big part of the problem. I mean, you really hit the nail on the head. Is people instead want to focus, they want to ignore the harsh realities of life, instead focus on the little things that make them smile or make them feel good. But that's not what life is. And if we don't get out in front of some of these problems, then we are going to pay the consequences for that. And some of these things, like right now, whether it's the Iran deal or these other things going on, we have a project that we'll be talking about more in the coming days that we are going to need your help on. But but we have to be able to get that word out. We have to have people that are willing to help us spread the message and help get involved with some of these things, because you can't leave it just up to others to do the heavy lifting. Unfortunately, that's what we have as Americans have the tendency to do too much, is we ignore the things in life that are hard and we focus on the things that make us happy or make us laugh or cute or whatever. And that's what gets the shares and gets the likes. But when somebody brings up something that's a harsh reality to deal with, it gets ignored. People put it off and they don't want to think about it. They don't want to deal with it. They feel like their life's hard enough already. Well, it could get a lot worse than it is.
True, but I'm going to come at my fellow Christians for a minute here. And I'm not trying to distract the topic. We get back to where we were, or maybe I don't know. Fellow Christians, two things. One, I'm going to say what my other boss, Dr. Jamie Glazoff, says. By the ways, people who, whenever I ask for money, people say, go get a job. I just named 3 bosses so far, which should tell you I got 3 jobs, and I still find time to do this. That felt so good to say. I don't know why. Anyhow.
Yeah.
Back to it. Jamie Glazoff always says, the darker it gets, the happier we should be as Christians, because that means the day of him coming to us is closer. Do not hide behind your depression and heavy hearts if you claim to be a follower of Christ. The darker it gets, the happier we shall be by heart. Secondly, we are supposed to, we claim as followers of Christ, we put our trust in him. But then we cherry pick which truth we want to face. We cherry pick how much pain we can handle today. We cherry pick which part of news we can handle today. Oh, honey, your trust ain't in him. You're trusting yourself. You're trusting your tolerance. You're trusting your ability and capability. And by the ways, you're underestimating your capability, which means you're underestimating his capability to create a capable human being. I'll rest my preach right here. All yours, Michael.
Well, again, you're right on the money. You put it much better than I could. But that is the heart of the matter. Is it takes action from each of us to actually make a difference. Like you and I coming out here and warning people and giving people this message is only one part of the equation. It takes action from everybody else that's listening and watching to do something, whether that's sharing this. And everybody's going to respond at their own level. Not everybody's capable of going out and going to a protest or doing whatever, but sometimes it just takes sharing the message with your friends or helping us spread it, or it's spreading the truth, standing up for it when you hear people saying something else. But just getting in the fight is half of it. And that's kind of what we have to get to. If we want these things to change, it's up to us to change them. You can't rely on other people to make all the moves.
Exactly. And here's another thing. And let me put this on the screen because I 100% agree with that. Let's just leave that. Thank you, SD Honey. I'm sorry. Some of these IDs I'm afraid to say. Thank you for bringing it up. So let's just leave it on the screen for anyone who wants to take a note of it. Here's the thing. I have heard lately, by lately, I mean last couple of months, there's this new thing. Tell your truth. Huh? Tell your truth. Okay. There's just one truth. There's just one. There is no my truth. Now, there is a tell your side of a story, sure, which is not the truth. It's your understanding of the circumstances. I'm game for that. But stop the tell your truth. There is no your truth, my truth, their truth. It's one truth.
Yeah, your truth is just your opinion. It's trying to change reality so people will maybe see it from a warped point of view. But you're right. There is only one truth.
Exactly. There's just one truth. So bottom line of this other category that I brought in is we are at a point in our life, all of us, and I'm not going to even narrow this down on Christians. I'm just going to say as humans.
Yeah.
We're going to have to pick a side. Okay, you can't be a swinger anymore. You can't. You got to pick a side. You're either on this side or on that side. Now, what are the sides? There's good, there's evil. If whatever your belief is, I don't know, what do we say? Like, if you don't believe in good and evil, then never mind the discussion altogether.
Yeah.
Not going to even go there. You're either on the side of the good or the evil. If you're on the side of the good, there's just one factor, and that is the truth. You can't run from it. I mean, let me rephrase that, because we're free humans, so you can, but you shouldn't run from it. Because the farther you run from the truth, the faster it's going to catch up with you.
Yes.
And it's going to catch you off guard. If you're on the other side, then, well, well, that's fine. Be there. But I'm just going to warn you. This part, I'm going to warn you as a Christian. You're going to lose. You're going to lose. You might feel like you're winning, but you're going to lose. So I strongly suggest, as another part of my preach, join our side before it's too late. Because today it might be like, oh, you're winning because we're forcing our soldiers to take a shower with the transgender man and we're taking away their weapons. We're pushing the good Christians out because they refuse to take the jab. We got shared bathroom, all of that. It might all look like you're winning. End of it, at the very end of it, you're going to lose. And I'm pretty sure as humans, none of us like to be losers.
No. And you've got that exactly right, especially again with the jab and everything else. It's that brings up another good point. You know, we might lose almost a third of our enlisted military right now of people that are refusing to take this shot. And that's another element that weakens us and opens us up to foreign attack. And again, this is as things are lining up against us.
Exactly.
But if you don't want to live in reality and embrace the truth, instead you want to believe the lie, when things do happen, you're going to be surprised and you're not going to be prepared. Whereas if you get involved now, you will be.
This is information I'm not familiar with. Solipsism means the truth is subjective, not objective. Truth is objective always.
I'm not familiar with that term either, but I'll look it up.
I was about to say thank you, Still Stormwaters, for that. That's interesting. How did you know? I'm talking to the user who made this comment. How did you know I was going there? Another term.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this. And by the way, Michael hinted at it, but if you're interested, we are about to have a couple of, I won't even call them projects, Michael. If you don't mind, I'm going to say a few movements we're about to launch.
Better way to put it.
We're launching a few movements, and yeah, we absolutely do. I'm going to even be an arrogant person. We don't need your help. We desire your help. The reason I say we don't need your help is because all of the movements are Christian movements. We are not limiting reach out to Christians only. You can be anyone and still get involved. But this is specifically to highlight the persecution of Christians and try to make a difference and, help with that. But the reason I say we don't need, but we do desire your help is because considering where we're going with this movement, between myself, I can speak on behalf of Michael and AJ, that we are doing this, putting absolutely 100% of our faith in God's hands. So we're not going to say we need your help, but we will desire your help, because the more of us, the better we can manage this.
Yes.
So I just wanted to say I'm not changing the topic because we're done talking about this. No, we're just getting it started. We are going to preach and we're going to expose and we're going to talk and we're going to try to help people understand our own flaws and where we drop the ball as Christians. On that note, we just got an interesting term that came up.
Yeah, and I wrote that down.
Yeah, I actually screenshotted it. Well, I figured if I write it, I'm going to misspell write it, and then later I won't find it because it's misspelled, because I'm very good at doing that.
I know the feeling.
I know. So, on that note, let's head back to Iran. We've been negotiating with Iran as hard as we can, and when I say yes, Biden regime, but we're paying for it, so we're without knowing so, we're part of it.
Yeah, we're involved against our will.
Well, is it against our will? Though, as I said, we could petition our government. We can pick up the phone and call our representatives and say, hey, I don't want my money to have anything to do with this Iran negotiation deal.
Yeah,
pull the plug on it.
Yeah.
We're not doing anything. So part of it is not without our, we kind of are very aware of it, but we're not doing anything about it. Anyhow.
Yeah.
we have been negotiating extremely excessively on a begging position with Islamic Republic of Iran since October of last year. Between August and September, we brought 60 plus thousand claim to be Afghan refugees. We don't even know who they are. They're
Exactly.
just kind of sort of walking around our streets now because they're not even in bases anymore. We have lifted sanctions from Islamic Republic of Iran. We released $82 billion of their assets. It pretty much gave them everything they asked for.
Yeah.
But somehow, 2 days ago, one of the members of Islamic Republic of Iran's government has come out and said that the recent visit by Biden, which, by the way, they don't refer to Biden as Biden anymore. Apparently, it's the elder president of United States. You see how old he is from the way he walks.
At least they're more honest about it. At least they're more honest about it than our media is. Don't they call him the puppet too?
Well, yes. The members of IRGC refer to him as the puppet, Biden the puppet. The leaders, more official government members, and the leader of Hezbollah started that title, and then they picked up from there. Anyhow, not to get too sidetracked.
Yeah.
We're worried about Putin having a stroke, but we're not worried about the fact that every single stage Biden is shaking an imaginary friend, right?
Yes.
I was trying not to get distracted. Okay, back. Concentrate. The leader is saying that the recent visit by Biden in Middle East has hinted at what we are considering that is Iran phobia.
So we're going to add that to our list now, Iran phobia.
Already added.
Okay, perfect. Let me.
So where do I start? Let me start here. I'm trying to control my emotion. Remember, being an Iranian American, it's sometimes hard to talk about both sides screwing up.
Yeah.
It's like, what is it? Is it just my luck? Like I always belong to the losers team.
Oh,
I meant country wise.
yeah.
Okay, I'll start from here. Iran phobia. I play the same game or explanation I do with Islamophobia. Let's say America, which I think we should. I have always said we should be afraid of Islamic Republic of Iran.
Yeah, a phobia is an unjustified fear. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I meant to do this, not that. Sorry.
Okay.
Exactly. I say we should be afraid of. I am afraid of them.
Yeah.
First of all, from day one, from American hostage situation to today, they are responsible for thousands, if not tens of thousands of American innocent people dead.
Yes.
They were proven by court. You can check out Iran911case.com. Affidavit, judgment, everything. Iran's hand behind September 11.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, the day before the Iran phobia speech, the top advisor to Ali Khamenei, Supreme Leader of Islamic Republic of Iran, gave a report or interview to Al Jazeera, and I read the original. And he said, as of this moment, Iran holds the capability to build the nuclear bomb, but we haven't decided if we want to do it yet or not. We have reached 60% enrichment, uranium. We are a week away from 90%. This fear is not a phobia. They themselves, which by the way, as I have said a few months ago, they already have the bomb, but now they're saying we have the capability. We just haven't decided if we're going to make it or not. The fear that we should have, it's absolutely rational. You're a bunch of barbaric, Mohammedan, bloodthirsty, absolutely ruthless people. You killed your own people. The Supreme Leader of Islamic Republic of Iran stood at a Friday morning prayer and said, here's a warning to American Marines, a step closer, and I have 72 million hostages in this country. He was referring to his own citizens.
Yeah.
So this is not a phobia. It's a very rational and logical and required fear. That's for that. Now I'm going to come back to this end, American end of mine. What else does it take for Biden regime to back off? Can we stop looking so desperately weak?
Right now, no. I think they do everything they can that is against our self-interest, that their goal is to bring down the United States right now. And whether that means making deals with our enemies that they know we won't keep, or we know they won't keep, if I could speak, or just other things to weaken us, whether it's cutting our own fuel production instead of having to go back to Saudi Arabia and beg for them to increase oil production. Everything they're doing step by step is a piece to harm us here.
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt your thoughts. Michael, why are we not reopening our pipelines? Why?
Because that would help us. That would help the average day-to-day American, and that's against their goals.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's really, at this point, that's the only thing that does make sense. Even the green agenda stuff. I mean, we already saw like Germany. They're now importing coal again. They're going to fire back up coal power plants because the price of energy has gotten too high there. France is talking about doing the same thing. Whereas we will not do something much simpler that is in our direct self-interest. For what reason? Is it Biden's pride because he shut down these pipelines on day one? I mean, otherwise it is just they directly want to harm us. They want the high gas prices because they think it'll satisfy some environmental goal, or they just want the United States weakened in general. Same reason to give away weapons and then not replace our stockpile, or to leave, 60 or 80,000 Gen 3 night vision units in Afghanistan. Like, that's almost more harmful than the weapons. You can buy guns wherever. Being able to see in total darkness is a huge advantage. Or the other military hardware that we left behind, or retina scanning devices, things like that, advanced technology that they're otherwise not going to have access to. So how much of this is intentional? How much of this is intentional destruction,
All of
not
it.
just stupidity?
All of it. No.
Yeah.
I don't believe for a second any of this is a stupidity. Do I believe Biden is a stupid? 100%, no doubt about it. Do I believe his puppeteers are stupid? No.
Yeah.
They picked Biden to make sure a lot of people would think this is just a stupidity, because you're looking at a stupid guy. As I said, he's shaking hands with imaginary friend. He's tripping over his own step. He can't follow directions in the White House. He doesn't know who Jill is. Apparently, their sister, brother, and then their wife and husband next day. So they picked this stupid person to make this look like it's all accidental stupidity. No, it's not. It's all intentional. And that's the thing. For years, so many others, now myself, for last 7 years, I've been screaming red, green axis, wake up, open your eyes. Starting Hussein Obama, this whole thing, the plans were taking place way before, but they started executing the plan by Obama.
Yes.
And stop looking away. Just look at, okay, I should probably plug Brannon House's event coming up, his annual Lake of Ozarks event, www.tv.com, www.tv.com. If you go there, the information is there. You can get your tickets. I still don't know how. I know you're very kind, Michael. You say I sell myself short, but I don't even know how I made that lineup. I am one of the keynote speakers and standing next to some of the bravest, most brilliant people in our country. So I feel really humbled and honored at the same time. But that is what I will be addressing at that event. Now, afterwards, the documentation, the PDF will be available for public. But if you want to hear it there, get a chance to ask questions, you can come. It's not just about me. Help me out if I forget someone, Michael. We have Brannon House, Mike Lindell, Roger Stone, Karen Kingston, Patrick Woods, huge fan, Leo Holman, Dr. Lee Merritt. I know I'm forgetting names, but
yeah, I'm sure we are, and I've seen it so many times. I feel like I should have it memorized, but I don't.
I feel the
Karen
same.
Kingston.
No, I did say Karen. Karen Kingston.
Okay.
I did. Yes. Hey, Dennis, it's so good to see you. So huge lineup, 2 days of amazing information, So yes, go to wvwtv.com, wvwtv.com. Oh, thank you, sis. Here, I'm going to leave it on the screen so you know where it's wvwtv.com. You'll see all the information. You can register. It is taking place in mid-October, so you do have time, but you don't have time because every year it's literally last year was sold out, year before that. So get
Yeah.
your ticket. But this is what I will be covering. The fact that so many people don't even understand how many Muslims are in power right now. No, I'm
People
going
think,
there.
well, yeah. Well, people think about that on the national scale, but that isn't where the problem. It's all this local elections, state level elections, and everything else where people are moving up and then creating protective barriers and creating little enclaves where they'll continue to hold power.
Yes, but I'm going to go there.
Yeah.
And feel free to detach from this very comment.
Yeah.
Let the attack come. I don't care. Why is it that we have President Trump endorsing 2 Muslims in 2 states back to back? Why? Why is nobody asking the question of Mr. President Trump? What's up? We're relying on your endorsement. You endorsed the first guy the moment, we're talking Dr. Oz, the moment he won the primary, your face, your name, your slogan, everything was wiped off his website. Now you endorse the second Muslim. Are you kidding me? What are you doing to us? Now the better question. He has the right to endorse anybody he likes to. Why are we still following his endorsements? Why? Was he a great president? Absolutely. Is he surrounded by smart people to help him with his endorsement? No.
Yeah. Not really.
We need to come to conclusion. I don't care who endorsed you. If you are a Muslim following Sharia, the answer is no. I don't care who endorsed you. Can we do that? I'm sorry. I'll let you take over.
No, you're fine. You're right on the money. And that's that's what we should be doing. But again, I don't know who's whispering these endorsements in Trump's ear. When it was just Dr. Oz, I was willing to go with the explanation that it was just because of star power and his association with him, knowing him from before, that it's almost like doing a friend a favor. But with the second candidate now, it doesn't make as much sense. That there has to be some kind of a standard, and apparently not. Yeah, I don't know how much of this you want to get into with him, but
no, it's not even about President Trump.
yes,
so genuinely, he has the right to endorse anybody. My problem is us. We, the people who make the final vote. Stop relying on endorsements. The endorsements are becoming a joke. There, as you said, there are no standards. It's like, hey, buddy, I need the endorsement. Hey, buddy, you got an endorsement. That's what it's a mafia.
yes.
There is no endorsement. There is no more genuine endorsement. So do your own homework. Go do research. Dig up information. It's not that hard. It took me, 4 days with help from Krissa. They can see her comment on the screen. And Michael and myself. We dug as much information as we could.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this candidate is extremely questionable, which I won't give a name right now because I don't have my final answer yet. But
Yes.
I have invited him to my show. Accepted the invitation. When I sent the line of questions, somehow he got busy and requested a reschedule and then ghosted me to today.
Yeah.
We'll see if we hear from them back. We got about 2 weeks left until their election primary. If I don't hear back, then I will name him and I will put him on the spot publicly, asking the moment you saw a line of questions, you dodged my interview. As a journalist, I need answers. It's my job to do it. I might have 10 viewers, but I rather inform my 10 viewers instead of going and just letting him go make decisions based on people who are not educated on judging these situations. Now I'm back to President Trump. But bottom line is, this is not President Trump's fault by itself. When millions of are just taking his endorsement and running with it, it's those people's fault.
Yeah, and blindly following his endorsements is a big part of how we got here initially, or how we keep ending up here, where we vote people in that have an R behind their name because that's what the party tells us to do, but they end up being rhinos that sell us out and throw us under the bus. There's only a handful of people in Congress right now that actually have a spine, are willing to stand up, or willing to put their neck out on the line. And those people are basically enemies of the state. I mean, you can count them on one hand right now. And even then, they're not 100% consistent. I know there's some of them that we're going to occasionally disagree with, but you can basically pick them out. It's, it's your Lauren Boebert, Rand Paul, it's Marjorie Taylor Greene, and
Jim
just
Jordan.
yes, Jim Jordan, and just a few others. And obviously I'm missing names. There is, but there's probably, maybe 15 at the most that are consistent, are good, and will actually voice a strong conservative view and will actually fight for us and fight for our values. Everyone
Here's
else
the
is just
thing.
a
I'm
blank.
gonna interrupt you, and I'm gonna say this. I don't even care for a candidate who's gonna voice conservative views. No, I want a candidate who is godly. End of my
Yeah.
story. I'm done. If you're not going to uphold our Judeo-Christians, don't talk to me. I'm done. Muslims are taking over our entire government, pushing for their blasphemy law and anti-Islamophobia law. And we're sitting
Yes.
here, oh, you're a Muslim, but I don't want to be Islamophobe. But here, I'm going to endorse you because I'm not Islam. We're talking about a country, people. This isn't some, I know I brought up the game mafia, but this isn't a game. All of our future, our children's future depend on our votes today. And yes, I understand our votes, our election was stolen. I get it. But you still hold the power. You cannot sit there, let somebody else do the job for you. And then when you vote for the wrong person, you blame them because they endorsed them. Did you do your
Yeah.
own research? Did you do your own homework? Did you reach out to the candidate? Show up at your candidate's Q&A sessions. Ask a question. The moment they dodge your invitation, you already got your answer.
Yeah. Or even like you said, just showing up one of these town hall events and asking them a difficult question or a question that's not necessarily politically correct. You can learn a lot about somebody by just gauging that one response. If you catch them a little off guard and they're not giving you the canned standardized answer, they're actually giving you something that has their own thought, their own feelings in it, you can tell where they land. And again, there are no perfect candidates. You always have to settle with somebody that you agree with 90% of the time. But as Annie said, if it's somebody that has a godly Christian background, that means that we can at least rely on them to make good decisions.
I agree with that statement 100%.
Yeah.
We need to bring God back. There's one of the songs that I listen to a lot. I'm sure a lot of you heard. I don't even know what is the proper name for it, but the verse of it is, God, we need you now. Come back home. I love that song, but I wish they would reverse it because God has never left home. We kicked God out of home.
Yeah.
When you kick someone out, you go apologize and bring them back. You don't sit and wait them to just come back knocking at the door. We have kicked God out of our lives. We have kicked God out of our government, out of our schools, out of our country. And worse, we have allowed their Allah to replace our God. That's what's killing me, Michael.
Yeah. From the halal meals in Michigan for all their schools to other, Muslim prayer rooms, footbaths, and other things, exceptions. You can practice religion as long as it's not Christianity. But if you're a football coach and you want to kneel for 15 seconds on the 50-yard line, that gets taken all the way up to the Supreme Court. You lose your job, you lose your status, you lose your source of income. You're mocked by the media, and it has to go all the way to the Supreme Court for somebody to finally have some common sense and realize that our country is founded on Judeo-Christian values, and we have freedom of religion. That is not freedom from religion, and that's nowhere in the Constitution to begin with. It all comes from a letter Thomas Jefferson wrote.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that is very true. I'm going to put this up. That's very true, Larry. I have never questioned his love for us. But I feel like it's kind of, to me at least, in real life relationships, if one person is the only one loving, relationship doesn't last long.
Yes.
That's my fear. He always loves us. The question is, we have been so distracted with fitting in, get along to go along. We have taken away our love from him so much to love the earthly desires and the fitting in, and let me have a Muslim friend so they know I'm a good person. All of that has kind of the relationship, our relationship with him is just not there anymore. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, it's kind of been diluted by making all these little compromises that society wants you to make instead of focusing on what God wants you to do.
That's very true. I'm sorry. I was reading the last two comments. And again, I mean, we have covered a lot of topics. And if it wasn't for both of us who have to start work in about 25 minutes,
Yeah.
I would say let's keep at it. But if you agree, Michael, let's wrap up here. By the way, everybody, we're going to do our very best if we can match our schedules to do this regularly. Like just
Yeah.
count on it as Annie and Michael just talking to you, talking to each other, anything. So try to check this page as often as you can. If we are gonna if we're gonna go with the shadow ban thing, just check on the page. We'll try to make announcements. But
Yeah.
I really hope that everything we talked about today, guys, I hope you grab this. And I don't mean the video itself. Whatever you heard, whatever that touched your heart, whatever that you heard, grab it and pass it on. There is just no point if you absorb, all the are very, very. Oh Lord, do we miss him today as a leader? Phil Haney always said, "Be a sponge, absorb the information, and then squeeze yourself and pass it out to others."
Yeah, exactly. Even if you don't want to share the video, share the message, repost something you heard that struck a chord with you. Maybe that'll help someone else. Maybe that'll help wake up one more person.
Exactly. It might motivate someone, inspire. Listen, these are dark times. I won't disagree, but it is our job. If I'm a huge Chosen fan,
Yeah.
we are messengers. We need to inspire each other. We need to unite. We need to remind each other. We need to call each other out when we're going astray. That's how you say it, right? Astray?
Yeah, astray.
Astray. There you go. We gotta have each other's back. We're gonna have to watch out for what's going on. Yes, the word must go forth. Agreed with you. But we do need to hop off here. So, last words of wisdom before I say bye. Michael, goes to you.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for joining us and reiterate that, yeah, we will be back doing this more often, probably a few times a week that we'll stream live. We'll try to notify everybody ahead of time, but please, even if you don't want to share the video, you're not comfortable doing that, please share part of the message. Wake someone else up. Like, that's the only way we're going to grow this and get more people involved, is that each person here grabs one more person and we've doubled in size by next time.
Amen. Agreed. Guys, all joke aside, when I crack jokes, we do need your help, though, at the end of the day, with shares, spreading the message, getting behind us, helping us get signatures when it comes to it. And at the end of the day, yes, we do still need your help financially. We're not asking for cash. We do have the sponsors, mystore.com or mypillow.com. Use promo code AC21. It comes back to help us. Go to my art studio, lutfstudio.com, lutfstudio.com. Purchase a piece of art that is either made by me or me and Michael that will support us. There is also, I didn't get the chance to play the video, but while you're on mystore.com, look up for Extract Gravity. It's an all organic energy drink by Brandon House. My promo code works there as well. Extract Gravity, promo code AC21. Try to support us, because we do really, we need to be financially stable to where we can continue doing this. Check out our website, loveuptofreedom.com. Join us every Sunday, 7 p.m. Central Time on Lindell TV for Let's Be Frank. And if you have comments, questions, suggestions, as always, liveuptofreedom@gmail.com. You're all amazing. Michael, I'm sure I'll be talking to you in about 10 minutes because we got to get to work. But
yeah,
this was fun. I am glad you agreed to hop on. Let's do this more often.
Oh, we will, for sure. Thanks again, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Watch your back. Stay informed. God bless you. God bless America.